Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Amy.
And I'm Sarah, and today we're going to be discussing Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan.
The first few minutes, we're going to do a quick review of the story without any spoilers. Then we're going to shift into a deeper book discussion, which is going to include lots of spoilers, but don't worry, we're going to let you know before we do shift into that deeper book discussion.
Yes, and it's going to be a great discussion today. This book is so amazing. So Amy, go ahead and give us just a brief summary of what Before I Let Go is about.
Okay. With a love that was supposed to last forever, Yasmin and Josiah found that love alone couldn't solve or save everything when their lives and their marriage started receiving blow after blow. After several tragedies lead them to divorce, they work to navigate co-parenting and owning a thriving business together, and they find themselves wondering if a second chance is in their future. This is a poignant story about hope and healing. Sarah, what did you think about Before I Let Go?
Okay, I was very apprehensive to dive into this one because we knew what it was going to be going into it, but can I just say this was such an incredibly moving story about reconciliation and healing that takes place after a marriage has dissolved. The journey that they kind of walk through and the backstory was just so heartbreaking. I was in such agony reading this, but it just comes full circle and it was so beautiful. I really, really, really had to kind of work my way through it, but it was worth the ending.
It was so real and beautiful. I found myself rooting for these characters who have just endured so many hardships in their life. I felt like the way that they dealt with this, the way they walked through these life experiences was so genuine and real. I have never read a story that deals with grief quite like this story does.
Oh, I agree. And I don't want to make a habit of it because it was so hard for me to read that this is how this is someone's journey.
It is.
But, oh man, Kennedy Ryan, she just did a phenomenal job with this story.
I agree.
I just really, really enjoyed it.
Okay, let's dig into our ratings. Angst.
Okay, Angst. This was a 3.5 for me.
We were close.
Because there's just, I mean, we know going in, this couple is already divorced. That's not a surprise. But some of the stuff that they're dealing with, some of the backstory, it just kind of upped it for me. And, this one was a tough one for me. What about you?
I gave 4 out of 5. So having to walk through the unknown of what's to come for these characters was very unnerving to me. My angst level was very high in this one. Just dealing with the raw emotions that these characters have to go through really elevated the angst for me in this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Humor.
Okay, humor was only a 1.5 for me.
You were higher than me, but continue on.
I was surprised that you were higher on the angst. So there was moments that were kind of funny. That's probably a high rating. I'm going to keep it there. We know I change my ratings all the time, guys. Don't act surprised. So there was just some moments that kind of helped lessen the tension a little bit. There's some friends that in there that are kind of funny, add a little bit of humor. And one of their children kind of makes me laugh every now and then. So it helped kind of lighten the tension for me.
I only gave it 0.5.
Oh my gosh.
I gave it 0.5 because I really found that it was more like a few instances of inner chuckling, no laugh out loud moments. Now hearing you talk about the friends reminds me of a few. I was surprised because I read some reviews on this story and a lot of the people talked about the humorous aspects of this story, and I just was so puzzled by that. So hearing you at least talk about the friends, and that did remind me of some lighthearted things.
Maybe it's one of those that we want to cry so hard that we just have to start laughing. Like, why are we laughing? We don't know because we're just crying so hard.
That's a good point. Okay, spiciness.
Okay, spiciness. This ended up being a 3.75 for me.
Oh, I'm so surprised. Okay, tell me more.
Wait,
That's
did we read the same thing?
Yes,
I know.
That's high for you. But tell us why.
Because for the longest time I was like, there's going to be no spice. This is a 1 on the spice. But then there were some scenes that I thought, holy moly.
Very descriptive.
Mainly, here's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Location. That's
perfect.
That's why the spice was kind of high for me.
That's fair. I gave 2.75. On the spot, I'm going to bump it up to 3. I never change my rating. So this is the first, folks.
Okay.
For that, the scenes were pretty descriptive, and there were enough to bump up that level for me.
And the location also increased the angst for me.
Okay, tears.
Okay, I'm crying now. I gave this a 4, not because I cried consistently throughout. I did cry. But because what they have gone through, and anybody who has gone through a divorce, it made me, I am not divorced. I've never been through a divorce, and I don't have experience with that in my personal immediate family. But to read about kind of how people feel, and just, I don't know, I just hurt so much. And then what they experienced, a very tragic loss. It was a lot to process, and just all they go through to heal as individuals, as a couple, was very raw and emotional for me. So this was a 4 for me.
I gave 3. Most of the heavy topics that the reader experiences is through passive backstory. So while I didn't actually cry, I can see where I would have if we would have had to live those scenes in real time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I mean, there were some on the pages, but there was a lot that was passive.
I can't believe this didn't even just a little tear. Just a little, just
Not
a tiny,
even,
like watery eyes.
No.
Like the
Made
burning
me
of
sad.
eyes.
It made me sad, but I did not cry. I know.
Oh, Amy. Okay. Overall, this was a 4.5.
Okay.
It was just, and I'm hesitant to say that. I don't want to give it that high because it just made me so angst.
Which I loved.
Yeah, I know. But no, it is so deserving. It was a really, truly well-written story, and for anybody who's been through a divorce, I would want this to be their story of reconciliation and healing. Yeah, I enjoyed it. What did you think?
So, drum roll, please.
Okay.
I gave it 5 out of 5.
What?
I gave it 5 out of 5. It was so empowering. It was raw. It was beautiful. Like I said, I've never read any story that is dealing with grief in quite this way. Yeah. And so for that alone, it's going to stay with me forever. But I thought Kennedy just did a beautiful job of writing this story of reconciliation.
I agree. It was really, really, really good. Yeah.
That concludes the spoiler-free quick review of this story. If you would like to continue the discussion with us and listen to our full discussion of this story, you can search any available podcast platform for Post-Book Depression or click the link right below. If you haven't read this story, go check it out. Come back, find us on social, and let us know your thoughts. You can find us on Instagram at Post-Book Depression Podcast, on Facebook in our Post-Book Depression discussion group, and you can always email us at postbookdepressionpodcast@gmail.com.